Jimmy Thelin'S is now officially the Aberdeen manager, and in this video I am going to be seeing what Football Manager thinks of what he can do at Aberdeen in his rebuild. And here he is in all his glory, looking a little bit younger than he does in real life and in the thumbnail, but going by Football Manager as a tribute, I'm very excited. I'm obviously very excited in real life, but I'm glad to see that Football Manager think he's a good manager. He's got very good people management, which is encouraging. Found 15 in tactical, 14 attacking, 13 at defending, which is quite good because we've not been very good at that, or at least we weren't until Peter Leven came in. He's got 13 for working with youngsters, 11 for judging player potential and ability, and 15 tactical knowledge. And, well, apparently he's got a really good knowledge of Sweden, but nowhere else. Which I do find hard to believe, but nevertheless. Obviously, Aberdeen finished 7th last season. It wasn't great. It was very bad. I think we had a lot higher expectations amongst the fan base. And, of course, we did decent in the Cups, but ultimately didn't win anything. And that is something that I would hope Jimmy Thelin'S will be able to rectify. We're not going to be in Europe. We will be in the group stages of the Viaplay Cup, and Jimmy's got a big job in his hand. Not as big a job as I thought perhaps he would have a few months ago, before Peter Leven showed that this team can actually play football and there is the bare bones there to be a decent side. But to get up there in the top 5, you'd hope next season, and ideally challenging with Hearts for 3rd, he's got a pretty decent job on his hands. And an awful lot will depend on the fact if we can keep a hold of this man, Bojan Miovski. He is absolutely excellent. I love him to pieces. I am very scared that he goes this season, this summer, ahead of the next season, in fact. However, with a new manager coming in who has proven track record of taking a team and being able to build them to compete at the top of the league in Sweden when he did that with Elfsborg, having a decent bit of money, if Bojan Miovski does go, with already Esther Sockler here, not a bad way to start the rebuild. So there is a silver lining there, but without him we'd have been absolutely screwed, so I'm still terrified to lose him. However, let's have a look at what Football Manager thinks Jimmy Thelin'S will do in his first season as Aberdeen boss. The first bit of business Football Manager think he will do, let's be fair, this will have no bearing on real life, but it's interesting anyway. They think he'll bring in John McLaughlin, 37 years old. Now, I wouldn't mind bringing in John McLaughlin as our backup goalkeeper going into next season. I mean, Calum is probably leaving. We've only seen Ross Duan in tiny little bits, and we're probably going to bring in a new number 1, and I wouldn't be happy if that was John McLaughlin, but if he's going to be backup, I'd be okay with that. Football Manager, however, reckons he's going to play all bar 1 game in the league, which isn't fantastic. With an average rating of 6.76, that should be enough to just put anyone off this whole idea. As well as that, he brought in Jack Thompson early on, 25 years old, from Queen's Park, paid £125,000 for him. He came in, didn't have a very good season either, 6.77 average rating, slightly better than John McLaughlin, and gave him the number 8 shirt. If this is going to be the Connor Barron replacement, I wouldn't be very happy. I mean, he's got very good passing and tackling, in fairness. Decent technique, positioning as well is good. However, bringing in a player from the Championship, I don't think that would fill fans with confidence. However, he actually looks a better player than I first initially thought. He's signed Jack Diamond and paying him £4,100 for a very average English fodder winger. 6.77 average rating again. Anyone going to get average over 6.8, please? The fact he's wearing number 6 is horrendous as well. Jason McCarthy also came in as a right back. Now, this is a position that I think we do need more competition in there. It'll be interesting to see next season if Jack Milne is the competition for Nicky Devlin at right back. He's played there a few times under Peter Leven and looks pretty competent, and he's now in the Scotland under-21 squad. This fella, however, looks pretty good. He's 6'1", he's an absolute brute. He can launch the ball into the box, which I'd be all for. 13 tackling, 12 marking, 12 positioning, 13 heading as well, and very decent physicals. Good mentals too. That looks a pretty decent acquisition for Jimmy Thelin'S, and 12 crossing as well to boot is encouraging. Joe Morrell, the Welsh international midfielder at 5'6", was brought in after leaving Portsmouth on a free transfer. 6.76 average rating, 5 goals, 2 appearances, so that's 2 assists, so that's okay. He looks a well-rounded midfielder who doesn't really excel in any particular category, but he looks a decent player. Now, this is more like it. A French centre-back by the name of Jimmy Girardon. 33 years old, so doesn't really fit the mould of what Aberdeen are trying to do in terms of bringing in younger players that they can then sell on after bringing them in on a cheap fee. Released by Saint Etienne, he scored 1 goal, 6.81 average rating in 30 games, but he's from overseas, so it's guaranteed to bring a little bit of excitement, at least in my part. 20 determination, 14 heading, 14 passing as well as marking, tackling on 12, and 14 positioning as well as very good mentals all round. Looks a decent bit of business. And Dan Potts at left back as well. With Johnny Hayes going, on the left side we now have Jimmy McGarry, we've not seen a lot of lately, and Jack McKenzie, who's kicked on a lot this season, despite still having some critics. I wouldn't expect us to necessarily bring in a left back in summer, especially if we bring in another centre back, which means Richard Jensen could then probably play as a left back if required. But nevertheless, he's decent, he's pretty well rounded at 31 though, again, pretty old. He was with Luton last season and in the simulation anyway, didn't play a single game, but had a relatively decent season with Aberdeen with 4 assists and 3 player of the matches. And out the door went a load of players on loan, namely Richard Jensen, Jaden Richardson, Shaden Morris, James McGarry, and Papi Habib Gay once again. I'm actually interested to see how he got on at St Mirren throughout the season. 9 appearances, 1 goal. Not great. I think he could be a surprise package next season, but we'll see. Now, as you may have already seen, we finished 5th in Jimmy Thelin'S first season, which would be certainly an improvement. I think we're probably looking for improvement, consistency, and then success with Jimmy Thelin'S. However, if we finish 5th, at least in the top half anyway, after last season, and unlucky to not finish in the European spots as well, which 5th normally would be with Celtic or Rangers winning the Cup, St Johnstone were relegated and won the Scottish Cup. I'd be glad to get rid of them, but I'd be really, really annoyed if they won the Scottish Cup and then stopped us getting Europe. We finished just behind Hibs. It must have been on goals scored, you would think. I think it's the same goal difference, the same amount of points. We just could scored less goals than them, which is very, very unfortunate. That would be such an infuriating season, and only a point behind Hearts as well. It would be encouraging, but really, really, really annoying. And in the Viaplay Cup, we were runners-up to Hibs, which would make things even more infuriating. I'll have a look to see how the game panned out. Boyamiowski scored a consolation goal, with Martin Boyle and Ellie Yuhan scoring in the first 22 minutes for Hibernian. I'd be very, very upset about that, and I'm actually interested. That reminded me, how do we shape up? What is the formation that he goes with? It's a 4-3-3 really, which I think is what we expect. Certainly a direct 4-3-3 with Jimmy Thelin'S and Dan Potts at centre-back, which is absolutely bizarre, with Thompson filling in really for Connor Bannon, I suppose, and Bissowan playing. It'll be interesting to see if he gets a chance under him next season. I really hope so, but that's not helping his case whatsoever. And in the Scottish Cup, we were knocked out by St Mirren. This is the worst season of simulation ever. If that was the Final Four and Aberdeen didn't win the Scottish Cup, which they've not done in my lifetime, I would be absolutely livid with that. Losing to St Mirren, who then lost to St Johnstone after they progressed against Ross County. Yeah, not happy with that. Let's see how next season goes and see if it's any better. But before we do that, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like on the video and subscribe if you're new around here. I'm trying to make weekly Football Manager videos once again, so stick around for that and ding the notification bell so you know when my next video goes live. Ahead of the 25-26 season, Jimmy Thelin'S added Ethan Brown from Kilmarnock. I know Mark, don't know who he is. He's American though, so maybe just a friend for Dante. Jay Fulton, however, was added from Swansea City, a Scottish midfielder, once at Falkirk, once upon a time, was at Swansea for over 10 years, barring a couple of loans. He was brought in to play centre midfield, a very decent acquisition again, very well rounded, excelling in the tackling department, but the mentals overall, and being 6 foot, pretty physical, I think it's a good signing. Che Nunelli was brought in from SC Heerenveen. They paid £900,000 for him. He's a winger. He scored 4 goals, got 1 assist. In the league anyway. Not exactly exciting. He looks pretty subpar. I suppose he's absolutely rapid, mind you, with 16 pace and 16 acceleration. But other than that, mentally he's okay, technically not fantastic, and a waste of money, one would say, especially at 27 years old. Jeremy Bro was brought in on a free from Palermo, a centre midfielder who again looks really well rounded without excelling all that much, but physically, with it all as yellow, all above 11, it looks a decent player. He's a French player, he's on low wages as well, which I suppose it would be a decent addition. Mentally really good, just an all-round decent player. In fact, nothing below 8, and that's long throws. The rest of his attributes are 10 or above, so very good. Oh my god, look who it is.
It's a fucking terrifying massive fish, Neil!
Yes, they've signed Will Fish on a free from Manchester United. He spent the previous season on loan at Wrexham after 2 loans with Hibs, as we well know. He's a very good defender with 16 heading, 15 marking, 14 tackling and 12 positioning. He's decent on the ball too, with 13 passing, 11 technique, only 8 vision though, and 10 composure. A decent signing, he knows the league, 23, room to improve. Does he play over Slobodan though? I'm not sure. A Dutchman, Norden Bakker. The last Dutch goalkeeper didn't go all that well. I don't think he did either. Only 4 clean sheets and 15 appearances. But he looks okay. And I'm just excited we're signing players from further afield, really. But not enough Vikings yet. Arjen van der Heide as well. Now this is more like it. 24 years old. Brought in from Roda on a free. Didn't have the best of seasons. But his name's Arjen and he's a Dutch winger. So I'm quite excited. And he's left-footed. He looks a lot better than the other Dutch winger that was brought in. 14 crossing, as well as decent dribbling. The agility's there, the acceleration and pace are pretty good. He looks a much better signing, but on £8 a week, not certain about that. Harrison Murray Campbell was brought in on loan. A decent, serviceable centre-back. Kasper Kozlowski. I'm sorry. Brought in on loan from Brighton, who they once paid 8.5 million quid for him. And he doesn't look that good. He looks decent, he looks very good, but not an 8.5 million pound player anyway. But we've seen a 40 million pound player in this league recently, haven't we? And he didn't look like he was worth that whatsoever, not even a tenth of it. But Kasper looks decent. A nice addition on loan from Brighton, I think. Northern Irish goalkeeper Luke Southwood was brought in, also from Swansea, so he knows Jay Fulton. It looks like him and the other goalkeeper, Norden Bakker, kind of split the appearances, I suppose. He looks decent, he looks serviceable once again, and he's noted as first choice goalkeeper. And oh my goodness, a Bolivian amongst their ranks, and Bolivian right back, may I add. Once again, make sure you're subscribed to see more Bolivian right backs in the near future at Aberdeen. He looks very good actually. 15 crossing, 16 marking, 13 passing, 11 tackling and 12 positioning. Very well rounded, only 5'8". He's a bit old, but he's coming from Bolivia. He's only played twice. What the fuck is this? And he's played for teams called Blooming, Destroyers and The Strongest. I absolutely love that. And the last addition was Harry Toffolo, another experienced English left back who looks better than Dan Potts. He delivered nearly a 7 in average rating across 16 appearances. Really well rounded, without anything really jumping off the page, but a lot of 11, 12s and 13s in there. A good addition on a free. And crucially, no one really of note has left. Bojan Miovski and Duke both still there. Richard Jensen made his move to Kilmarnock permanent. Other than that, I mean, Jack McKenzie's gone, Paul Vara's gone to the Orlando Pirates, okay, fair enough. Graham Shinney and Bassamon are gone. Okay, I lied about notable exits. Angus MacDonald also gone. McGrath out on loan for some reason. Papi Habib Gay's gone to Australia. It's gone a bit mental, actually. I lied earlier. Remember what I said? Yeah, that was a lie. I did mention consistency and improvement, however, and that's certainly the case. Aberdeen finishing 5th once again, but this time qualifying for Europe. Ross County sneaking in 3rd, which is really unlikely and just, I don't even know. It's a disgrace, is how I describe it. But they will be playing European football under Jimmy Thelin'S in the 26-27 season. And the Dons did not do well in the Cups, however. They were knocked out in the second round by Celtic. Unfortunate in the Viaplay Cup to draw them so early. But the semi-final by Ross County, which was then won by Celtic, who surprised. on penalties as well. For Christ's sake. Let's hope the third season's better and delivers some silverware too, ideally. I'm going to start with the players that left this summer instead, just mixing it up a little bit. Duke's gone to Bodo Glimt for 2.3 million. A decent fee to receive, but remember 50% of that is going to Benfica, which really does upset me. And it'll be interesting to see actually what happens with him this summer because he's only got 1 year left on his contract. But he's getting paid 19k by Bodo Glimt. He's played 41 times for Cape Verde, scoring 15 goals. It's upsetting, but good for him to get that kind of money, to be fair. I don't think he'd enjoy the weather, mind you. And the only other real first team player at the moment that has left is Esther Sockler, who's gone to FC Emmen in the Eredivisie, where Besawin actually was just on loan in the back end of the previous season. A shame because he's really well rounded, but behind Bojan Miovski, is he ever going to get a chance? The first bit of business in this season, however, was for Oliver Rathbone. Aberdeen spent 1.7 million quid on him, which I don't like at all, especially since he doesn't look particularly good. He's got very good work rate. He's just 5'6" though. A Graham Shinney replacement, maybe, with pretty decent physicals, but to spend that amount of money, to waste the Duke money on that, I'm not happy. Goalkeeper Harrison Parker was brought in on loan from Manchester City and was our first choice goalkeeper this season. He's a centre-back. I don't know why I thought he was a goalkeeper. He's just got a goalkeeper name, doesn't he? First choice centre-back then, it would seem. He looks really well-rounded, got good passing, good marking, good heading, tackling and positioning, which are the main ones I really look out for. Aggression of only 8 though. Slobodan won't be happy. Josh Benson was brought in from Livingston as well for 195 grand. We've now had Benson and Hedges in recent times, so that's fun. Well-rounded again without really excelling too much in anything, which is quite sad, I suppose, really, now that I've said that out loud. James Taylor, an 18-year-old striker who looks like he's got a lot of promise, scored 2 goals for Aberdeen this season in the league off the bench, you would assume. Good technique, excellent finishing. 5'6" though, once again. Why do they keep signing short kings? And he's bald at 18, God. Alan Campbell, however, was brought in. He's still pretty good. His mentals are absolutely excellent. His natural fitness and stamina good too. Marking, tackling, passing, all okay in terms of his technical attributes. 1 cap for Scotland, only 10 appearances for us, and we paid 275,000 for him from Hibs, interestingly enough, when he didn't really play that much. Archie Stevens signed from Rangers. Why? Odell Offia was signed, a decent squad player, I guess, at only 24. Previously at Hearts, Brighton as well, obviously, and then Livingston in game. Played for them in the Championship before signing them for free in the Premiership. Fine. And last but not least, Jordan Thornley, another centre-back, not a goalkeeper. He's left-footed, so that's encouraging. He looks okay. Was at Motherwell after being a lower league English jobber for most of his career. Fine, but not really overwhelming, is it? I'm underwhelmed, if anything. Which means the squad now looks like this. Miovski's still here, Van der Helde and Nunnally on the wings with Clarkson alongside Thompson, who turns out might have actually been a pretty good signing. How's he been getting along for us? He's worth a lot of money. Anyway, so there's that. 1.8 million to 5.4. Cash in. And Jimmy Thelin'S has finally got us 3rd spot, which is interesting because I only see us having 4 European spots. I'll work out what the hell's going on with that later. If it took us 3 seasons to get to 3rd again, after showing signs of improvement, I'd be okay with that. We're finishing 5th both times. But we're there. We're finally getting there. I'd hope it'd be sooner in real life, however. But as has been made very clear, patience is key with this appointment. And that is very sore. We didn't make it to the Conference League group stage, which is upsetting. But we were runners-up in both cups. In the Viaplay Cup, lost 1-0 to Celtic after extra time, and 1-0 to Celtic in the Scottish Cup final. It's not even like they've blown us away, which is absolutely infuriating. In fact, the whole thing's been rather infuriating because we did really well in the 3rd season. We got the 1st season we got stiffed by St Johnstone winning the cup, missing out on goal difference to Hibs and 1 point behind Hearts. Now we've lost both cup finals to Celtic. Nevertheless, let's see how things get on in Jimmy Thelin'S 4th season in charge at Aberdeen. Never mind, there is no 4th season for Jimmy Thelin'S at Aberdeen. What has happened there? Departed as Aberdeen manager after agreeing terms with another club. He left us 2 days after Christmas. To Wolves. Are Wolves even... They're in the Premier League. Okay, they're in the Premier League. So it's a good move for him. And if that was to happen in real life and he was to go on and manage in the Premier League, we couldn't really be too mad about that. But for this video, that's annoying, isn't it? Let's see how they've done in the 4th season anyway. And who's their manager now? Russell Martin. He actually looks quite good, to be fair. Russell Martin. In fairness to Jimmy, won 50% of our games. A 50% win record with 31 games drawn, 55 lost, 87 won. Would be pretty good if he was to leave us like that. Just unfortunate there was no cup wins at all, or league wins obviously, or any real impact in Europe. But before he left, he sold Will Fish to Bristol Rovers. I wonder how they'd have reacted to that signing.
It's a fucking terrifying massive fish, Neil!
However, with no other notable departures, the first incoming was Luke Butterfield, Scottish apparently, Everton and then Wraith Rovers. Okay, is he actually Scottish? No, he's not. Regardless, at only 24, he looks really well-rounded. Decent signing to leave us with as a squad player, anyway. Ellery Balcom was signed. He's actually a goalkeeper, and he's actually a very good goalkeeper. In fact, he's on loan at St Mirren this season. They've just signed him in real life for the season coming. He's worth a lot of money. He's really, really well-rounded, and he had 10 clean sheets, 6.92 average rating. A good signing in my books. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy? Jimmy? I don't know anymore. That's a mouthful, innit? Jeremiah Chilikoa Mullen from Leeds, I think, got a free. Yeah, previously been on loan at Cove, so, I mean, he knows the area, but he's not great. Jack Bycroft, backup goalkeeper, was signed, having previously been at a load of English shite. Brandon Cooper, the Welsh centre-back, was added, who actually looks really well-rounded, only noted as a fringe player, however, and only played 1 game, which is interesting. He's not left-sided, but he's described as a perfectionist. I can't imagine he'd been happy about that season then gone by. Ben Gibson, though, very experienced English centre-back who's still got it, physically not quite so much. 35 years old, 37 appearances in the league. Not bad, no goals though, despite having 2 assists, which is interesting. It's okay. Isaac Davies was also added, Welsh internationalist with 1 cap. Why was he capped and even bought as well for money? I don't know. And Chris Cadden was added, so he's worth a lot of money at least. He's played twice for Scotland. He's okay, again, but he's not fantastic, only on loan from Hibs. Why are we loaning players from Hibs who finished below us in the league? I don't know. Then Russell Martin added Michael Scullion to the reserves, interesting. And Noah Mawene from Preston. Is that Yo Mawene's son? I think it must be Yo Mawene's son. I can confirm that this is certainly Yo Mawene's son, which is quite nice. That's gone full circle. He's not the best. He's 23. He's joining permanently, but that's just a nice full circle little moment, isn't it? I would also like to note that whilst I'm here though, Slobodan Rubezic is vice-captain and worth 5 to 15 million quid at 28 years old. He's still here, still wearing number 33. That photo of him is really funny, but he's still only on 2.8 grand a week, and he wants to leave, I think. Oh, he's leaving for free at the end of the season, at the end of his contract. That's class. Brilliant. Sell him now while you've got the chance for all the money. I'm sorry, Slobby, I love you, but make the money, Aberdeen. And under Thelin'S/Russell Martin's stewardship, we finished 4th. Hibs have somehow finished 2nd, which I don't really know how that's happened. It's decent. I mean, it's not all Thelin'S' fault. That's where that part of the video's done now, unfortunately, but it's okay. It's not the bottom half, so I'm happy, really. However, in Europe and the Cups, absolutely terrible. So he's lucky he got that move, to be fair, to Wolves. 2nd round by Dundee in the Viaplay Cup, terrible. And the 4th round, which was then, it was Russell Martin, Dundee United, and CSKA Sofia in the League Pass 3rd qualifying round of the Europa Conference League. Poor, really, isn't it? All round for Jimmy Thelin'S, though, I would consider that video a success. I mean, we qualified for Europe, we did decent in the Cups, and he ultimately got a move to the Premier League, which would be good for him in real life, I suppose, but not what I even want to bear thinking about, because I'm looking forward to some years of success and consistency and improvement under him. And if you want to hear more of my thoughts on your mate Thelin'S as he gets his Aberdeen career underway, then check out the Red Tinted Glasses YouTube channel's latest video. But also let me know in the comments down below how you think he will do in his first season in charge. He's got a big job on his hand, but I am really intrigued to see how it goes, and I'm excited for signings, essentially. But also leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed it, and subscribe with notifications on for plenty more Football Manager content coming your way in the near future. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.